The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Writer's Block Podcast NH. This is a podcast designed by writers for writers on the journey to being published. Joined Mandra Biscornet.
It was so healthy and nutritious.
Deborah Monk.
Can we open each podcast with a dance number?
Shelly Devlin.
It was so full of inspiration and sparkles.
Every Tuesday morning live on YouTube. And make sure you subscribe to catch the podcast anytime on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, or your favorite podcast catcher. It's time to be inspired, feel empowered, and be well with the Writer's Block Podcast NH.
And welcome to the Writer's Block Podcast. I'm Mandra.
I'm Debbie.
And I'm Shelly.
Thank you for joining us at the Writer's Block, where our mission is to inspire, empower, and help people be well. We've got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about two authors who have used books to parlay into speaking engagements. The first is Dr. Bridget Cooper, and then later on we're going to talk a little bit about
Iyanla Vanzant.
Thank you, Deb,
You're
because
welcome.
I cannot say her name for the life of me. So Dr. Bridget Cooper was someone who I went to see speak at an Enterprise Bank networking night. And I'm going to read just a short blurb that's on the back of her book to tell you a little bit about what she does, because we just love this. Dr. Bridget Cooper is a cage rattler, thought shifter, and change strategist. She's made it her life's mission to strengthen our collective wisdom and awareness so that we can change the world one person, one company at a time. And I'll tell you, she is a dynamic speaker, so funny, energetic, and just really, it was an enjoyable night listening to her.
Maybe we could get her on the show.
Well, funny you should mention that, Deb, because she is going to be on our show.
Yay!
So next Tuesday, 10 o'clock, we are going to Skype her in and be able to talk with her about her latest book called Pain Rebel, and answer some of our questions. Yeah.
Great.
I love how she has branded her titles, Cage Rattler and Thought Shifter. Mm-hmm. That is amazing, because everything I crib noted on her this morning on the truck on the way in, she references those two titles.
Yep.
I don't think you're supposed to be writing and driving.
I wasn't writing. I was listening to my crib notes and YouTubing her.
I wonder if we should all have titles. I guess we do, kind of. You inspire, I empower, Mandra be well.
My business
Mandra
card
be
says
well.
Inspiration Coach, spelled the way I spell it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But I love the cage rattler.
Yes.
Just shaking things up.
See,
and the thought shifter.
I do love that, but I also feel like, but then I'm still in the cage. You know, I want to bend the things and fly out like
Step out.
Superman.
Of course you do, Deb.
Well, why don't you start rattling it first? We'll see what happens.
I've been rattling.
So the talk that she gave was based on her book called Power Play, which Taming the Work Circus from the Inside Out. So it talks about how you can improve your work environment and promote a positive work culture by starting with yourself first. And the concepts that she talks about apply to corporations and organizations, but also apply in your personal life as well. So I'm going to touch on two of the concepts, and we can chat about those a little bit.
Great.
The first one is that she says the root of all conflict and negativity is unmet needs with regards to relationships. So,
Gosh.
we have
just
a list
those
of
two
4
words.
needs.
Just the two. Sorry to interrupt, but just those two words together.
Unmet
needs. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that kind of hitch in the belly?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Tell us more.
So I'm going to tell you 4. You can tell me which ones you feel are unmet.
Okay. Yeah. Ooh.
You like that. The first one is control. So we like to have control over circumstances, people, and events.
Everything.
Right. That's
So-
me.
Just everything.
Yes. Last night when Mandra and I were Skyping and prepping for today's show, her husband Brad walked across the screen and he said, "That's Mandra." He said, "That's Mandy.
Yep.
She needs control."
She's all number 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't think control's a big thing for me. I don't. And
Oh, I need control.
yeah.
I need control.
I feel like I'm a little bit in a sandwich here.
Between two control freaks.
Well, no, but I think you two are alike in a lot of ways. Okay, so You two need control.
Yep. The next is connection, a social need to connect with people.
Okay, I'm gonna.
I need that. You need that.
Oh
Deb.
man,
I mean, you
I
do
do.
that.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I know.
You don't have to be upset about
It's
it.
not disappointing.
Yeah.
That's why you're the
No.
That's why you're the cream in the middle of the two Oreos right now.
I know.
Because you need that.
You connected Shelly and I.
Yes.
Oh, you guys, you're gonna make me cry.
Deb hasn't got her morning cry in. Jonathan, can you confirm
yet.
that?
I'm not allowed to talk about it anymore as a result of some hate mail that we received for me picking on Deb. So
Only about the showering.
I'm
Anywho.
abstaining.
Yes.
I'm going to move on to number 3.
Please do.
Okay, what's number 3?
Purpose. So we want to feel like our
Oh.
jobs, our lives matter. And I'd say, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
That's-
think
yeah,
all
that's
three of
definite
us.
for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
And then the last one is validation, that you are recognized for doing a good job or you're valued.
Okay,
Absolutely.
let me just put this out there for all our listeners who want to be writers. If that one's important to you, you better switch careers.
You know what? Out of luck.
Because for the amount of time and energy and money that you're going to put into your writing process,
You're going to get a
the
lot of,
validation is going to be such a minuscule percent that I think you better think of something else.
mean,
I disagree a little bit.
I don't blame you because Jonathan's probably going to get so much validation from
No,
his
because
book.
it's
No, I'm serious.
The validation that it depends on what validation you're looking for. Are you looking for global validation, or can you be in your writing group and
Correct.
come up with one sentence and it's like, all right, that sentence is so good, you get these little mini validations along the way.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So if you get these little sort of shots of it and you're okay with that, then you might be fine. But if you send your book out to a bunch of agents, you get all these rejections
right.
back. You know.
that
Right.
little shot of writers group every Thursday morning might not be enough.
Right.
Right. Actually, yeah. When I sent out Julia Stone, I sent it to 118 agents. And one particular day, I got 11 rejections at once.
Ooh, what did
And
you do?
Nothing. I didn't care.
You didn't care?
My other writing group, they couldn't believe how much rejection does. It just rolls right off my back. But I had 3 agents out of 118 who were interested. And so that was all that I focused on. So I guess I don't really need validation.
You don't need that
Yay,
one.
Good. I can keep writing.
That's great. So then the other concept that I'm going to talk about today is stress. And we all feel it. A lot of us feel it when we go to work.
Or we go home.
Or whenever.
Or we're driving.
Or I was listening to something on the radio that said something like 85% of the people asked in a survey or whatever don't hate their job, don't like going to work.
Ooh, that's painful.
And that's
I
pretty
think that's
miserable.
true. I can't imagine.
85%. It was astronomical, the
I
number.
think it's true. I think if we all went, I
like my job.
No, we do.
I mean, I can
I like
say
this
that
job.
most of the people sitting in my chair while I'm doing their hair hate their job.
Right.
That's awful.
And I think most of the students, most of the people I teach, I know that if they didn't have to work, they probably wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that is regular conversational bitching, where if you're complaining about something, you're at least starting a conversation and you have an easy out, so to speak, for engaging with the other person? And how much of it is, do you think, that they really hate their job?
Well, I think they were given like a survey, a list of things to answer. So they didn't have to try to make conversation.
Fair enough.
Oh, yeah,
You
good
know?
point. But
I just can't imagine hating your job.
I know.
And going
Yeah.
to work every day.
But a lot of
Right.
people do, and they feel very stuck. And they feel like none of these needs are met at their work. And feel like you can't get out of it because of financial
Mortgages.
reasons or training. What else can I do?
Right.
You know, at this point in my life, whatever.
I think this is why she labels herself thought shifter.
Yeah.
It's all the way you
and
perceive
cage
it,
rattle.
how you
right.
look at it.
Right. So the way she defined stress was the pressure felt when what you want to control is greater than what you can control. And then she goes on to talk about 3 things that you actually can control. And it's how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. So basically, you're in charge of you, and you can't control all these outside forces.
So, Mandra, let me ask you, as a self-proclaimed control freak, how do you feel about that there's a lot you can't control? See, I think Mandra's so balanced. She's going to answer this, that she's perfectly fine with it. She accepts it. She knows it. She's so zen.
It's taken a lot of practice to get to be able to let things go and realize that I don't have control, because I try very hard to control everything. Yep.
Wow.
And I think that was a problem for me with Brad's heart transplant. I was trying to control everything, and when people didn't act or do or say what I wanted them to, it caused stress. And that's exactly what was happening. As I read over Just Another Love Story, I'm like, I was trying to control that. I was trying to control how the family, acted and how the nurses responded and all this other stuff. And if they didn't do it my way, or what I thought, not that I was, I was never mean or whatever, but I was just so used to being able to control everything in my life. And then that hit, and I was out of control. I couldn't control any of it.
Is it fascinating to look back, and now that you're writing it as a story, and in a way, because you're the author, you're a little bit separated from the story, or more so than you were in the time. Is it fascinating to look at that story from a different perspective?
Yeah. And it's a completely different book with me writing it now than had I written it then, because I wouldn't have had that growth in between.
Every memoirist that I've heard speak has said that you have to have some distance from the time that you're going to write.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Huh.
So the way we know that we're trying to control other people, or that we have expectations of other people, is when we use words like should. Like they shouldn't show up late, or they shouldn't drive fast. When what we're really saying is, I don't want them to do that. And so that's a little bit of the thought shifting.
Sure.
Like, are you trying to control them? Can you do anything about whether they're late or drive too fast? No, you can't. So
we all need a little Mandra on our shoulder. Wouldn't that be nice?
I can't tell which angel she'd be, though. Is she the good one? Or
I'd
the
be a
bad
little bit
one?
of both.
Oh, she'd definitely be wearing white. I don't see her wearing red.
A little bit of both. So it's very exciting that Bridget Cooper is going to be on our podcast next Tuesday. And if you want to check her out beforehand, her website is drbridgetcooper.com. And her Facebook is bridget.cannon, Cannon, Cooper. And all her books are on Amazon. So you can check her out. And then we're really excited to have her on next week and talk more about this stuff and her new book.
Oh, I can't wait to ask her.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I've got questions already.
Very
I know.
exciting.
Yes.
I know. So, Deb, you want to give us a quick Deb and Shell on who you went to see? Iyanla?
Oh,
Yeah, very good.
yeah.
Iyanla Vanzant.
Iyanla Vanzant.
Yes.
She was amazing.
It was
It was like a performance.
It was.
It was a performance.
And I think that just goes to show how much the writing world has changed. That I know for me, the image that I have of, say, Stephen King is that he's in his little cottage in Maine, little log cabin, typing on the little, I think he has an ad. I must have seen that somewhere, but see him typing, one finger at a time, typing his stories. And that
I hope he can really type.
I'm sure he
That would
can
be
by
really
now.
long if he's
Yeah.
still a pecker and a whatever
Yes.
it's called there.
He
Hunt and
probably has
peck.
an assistant in a mansion. Right?
Yeah.
He's not in a
Right.
little log cabin anymore, but but meaning that he's just so removed, and that writers now, it's such a different world that you can and I think that's why a lot of writers are using their book for nowadays isn't just for the book. It's almost like a business card, or it's validation.
Right.
And
Well, and I think, Deb, you're coming from a writer perspective because you are a writer. You are an author. And when I saw her as a performance, it just seemed completely normal because I'm coming from the stage performance.
yes. And while we were in the audience, Shelly
Yes.
had this idea that she should do a show. And so
Yes.
I think she should, that it would just be a one-woman show, and there's going to be a chair, and maybe different clients come in, or we haven't quite
Yes.
worked it all out.
But
yeah,
it'll
Shelly's going to
probably
be doing a show.
the music hall in Portsmouth, and there would be a hydraulic chair on stage with a spotlight on it. Oh yeah. We had it all mapped out inside our head while we sat there in
And
the audience.
having your book would sort of help, validate that and legitimize
Yes.
that, okay,
Right.
I'm a speaker, I'm
Yes.
a motivator, and here's my book, my sort of...
It sort of makes you an authority, or it makes you a perceived authority. So when you can say, I have a book on inspiration, then it seems like you must know what you're talking about.
Right.
That's even happened with our podcast. I have had people say, reference as, the salon, working behind the chair and traveling and teaching and on a stage and running a podcast and writing a book. And I'm like, doesn't everybody do that? It's just normal life.
Well, it's normal.
Day in the life of
It's
Shelly
normal
Sparkle.
It's normal for all
Shelly Sparkle. That could be the name of the show. Oh. No, As the Chair Turns has to be
As
the
the
name
Chair
of the show.
Turns is the name of the show.
Yeah.
But it could be the title as the Truck Talks that I'm going to work on.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, but here you two are examples of, because your intent is not just to write the book, but your
We may
intent.
someday be examples. Right now,
We
that's
are
just the
going
hope.
to be examples.
You are definitely both going to
That
be
we write the
examples.
book and then we can do these speaking engagements and connect with people and have our book as, there at the speaking engagements to
A
do
tool
whatever.
to
Yeah.
empower and inspire.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a question, ladies. When it comes to the speaking engagement, different than the book, who gets the money from a business standpoint?
Oh, we do.
Does the publisher get the money if you go out on the speaking engagement, or is this why authors decide, all right, I'm going to be an author, but I'm also going to take my show on the road, so to speak, and put more of that money in my pocket, and that makes you able to sustain that as a job?
Well, part of it is I'm 90% sure just by looking at her book that Dr. Bridget Cooper is independently published. So she is her own publisher, so she wouldn't have to share it anyway. But if you were signed with one of the big five, they, unless you sign away everything, which most people don't, like movie rights, you can work those into your contract. Public speaking would not be included. So that's completely on your own.
So you get the money.
Yeah.
More money.
More money.
More money, more problems.
But it's another stream of income. If we talk about
Exactly.
different streams of revenue or income. Yeah. Well, on that note, why don't we do a project check-in and see where you guys are at?
Well, if I will go first here, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead,
Let's
Deb.
hear it.
Okay, so this is where I am on my project update. I have to use a little story. I ran the second half of the Boston Marathon basically by accident. My brother was running, and my mother and I were at the halfway point, and we were there to cheer him on. And so she told me to run beside him for a little while to see how he was doing. The problem is, I'm in such good shape. I ran 7 miles before I thought maybe I should turn around. And then I realized at 7 miles, or it must have been 8 miles, I only had 7 more to go to finish, that it was less distance to go to the end than it was to turn around and go back. I had on regular sneakers. I had no intention. So I had on regular sneakers. I had light pink leggings, light pink what's this called? Turtleneck, and a sweater that I had borrowed from my mother. And just a side note, no bra.
Oh, you ran
That
7 miles with no bra?
Definitely paints a picture.
I know. The funniest thing is because it was if it had been the first 4 miles, my thought was, I can't take my sweater off because I don't have a bra on.
Yeah.
But after 4 miles, I was sweating. So my thought, if it hadn't been my mother's sweater, I would have just thrown it on the side of the road if it had been mine. But it was my mother's sweater, so I couldn't. So I tied that around my waist.
Yeah.
By mile 6, I was pouring those cups of water down my.
So now you're in a wet
now
T-shirt,
you're in a wet turtleneck contest
with no bra,
And
running the Boston Marathon.
It's not as bad as it sounds, but
it's a visual, all right.
It's a visual, yeah. Anywho, so when the thing that shocked me the most was I thought the last mile of the Boston Marathon would be easy. I figured with all the excitement and the crowds cheering you on and knowing that your family was there waiting for you, just
I
waiting
see where you're going.
to see you cross that finish line, I really thought it would be, in some ways, one of the easiest. I was so wrong. It was the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I am on my project update.
You're in the last mile.
I'm in the last mile, and it's so hard. And I don't mean to be a complainer, and I'm not trying to complain, but I'm just pointing out to people that I just want people to know.
You're almost there,
Yes.
and then it's still a long stretch.
So my project update here is I have 2 versions of the cover that has come back for the re-release of Searching for Julia Stone, my first novel. I think, we can't see
Got them
the
up on the screen.
So,
The black background on
Yes.
one, and then you have the white or the sort of tan background on the other.
So usually we can see the screen and you girls can vote, but apparently you'll have to do like the listeners. Please vote and let me know which back cover you prefer.
So I'll just
right,
go
put those
through
on
it one
put
more
those
time.
on the
We
Facebook
have
page, Dan.
this is the black background here, and this is the tan background, and you can send your vote to.
It will show. We will have those pictures on the Writer's Block Podcast NH Facebook page, and I will also post them on Deborah Monk and my own personal Facebook page, Deborah Monk, Facebook.
Sounds good. Vote in
Yes.
either place.
Yes.
Okay.
Point is, keep going, everybody. Keep going, Deb. That finish line
Keep going.
is
It's there.
there.
You're not still running, so you actually finished it.
Oh, no, I'm still running.
No, I know, but with the marathon, like you actually did finally get there.
I
so
did
you
get
will
across,
finally get
yes.
there. Yes.
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 The end is in sight.
Yes.
And when I can see the bra waving
Oh
at the
my
finish
gosh.
line.
Oh my.
We need to get her a trophy that's like a bra.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yes. Absolutely.
Shell, what do you have going on
So
over
my
there?
project update is still learning the editing process, and I had spoke before about having edits come back from Dawn, my editor, on Word looked like the scariest roadmap because the red lines were everywhere. It was, not only doing grammatically correct and past tense and all of that, in addition to her comments. So we spoke and we did the first few stories that way, and I powered on through and it was painful. And then the next few, she decided, let's do this. Let's print it out. And I'll handwrite everything. So here's the disadvantage to that. That comes and the mailman doesn't realize that it's raining out, and the rain on the package blurred some of her ink. Oh. So most of it I could read and make it out, but it still was a scary roadmap because now she has made all these edits with symbols that I don't understand, but she gave me a key. Like, this is at a period, this is at a comma. This little squiggle means put this line up here and swap these lines over. Add a paragraph here. So it was as scary. So it was a great example. But what I found is that I Skyped with her last week, and she said there are 3 ways. But she is like Deb. She is so passionate about writing that she wants me to be passionate about writing. And I'm not sure I'm going to be so passionate about the commas and the paragraphs. And I think we've all agreed upon that. So she said the 3rd way is let's bring it back to Word, but let's take out that I don't even see where she changes a paragraph, swaps a sentence, does a period here and a comma here, that I don't even see that.
So she'll just do it.
So she'll take out all the red dot roadmap.
Yeah.
And all I will see is her comments and suggestions on how to make this story better.
Yeah.
That's what I would like.
I vote
Sign
for
me
that.
in.
Yeah.
Sign me in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Right?
Because I think it's too intimidating for you to
too much.
see.
And I don't want to learn that.
No, you
Like,
want to
I'm
figure out what
not.
hairstyle you're going to have today, which, by the way,
Seriously.
this is adorable.
I
I know.
isn't
We
it?
all love
Jonathan,
Shelly's
I took a
hairstyle
barbering
today.
class yesterday, and I want to know what's under your hat because I have
Nothing.
got some great ideas. Nothing. But you do that yourself?
Oh, yeah.
All right, I have some tips for you.
Really?
This, yes. I'm so excited about this
All
class
right.
I took. But that's my update, is
Okay.
we're going to go back to, we're going to try the 3rd way of editing.
I think that's going to work for you.
I do
I do
too.
I think you're really going to be
I do
happy
too.
with that.
Because
Yes.
that other stuff makes me just want to, like,
Right. You don't need to know that.
pull the covers over my head and
Yep.
be like,
Yep.
I'm not coming to writers group.
Yep.
No, not that.
Not
no,
that.
you have to come to
You have to-
writers group.
right,
You cannot
that's-
go anywhere else.
All right.
That's
Yeah.
mandatory.
Yes.
So we're going to do a quick, I don't have a project update. So
Okay.
instead, I'm going to do my walk around the neighborhood because I do have that. And what I was going to talk about today is sleep and how to get a good night's sleep. Because
Oh,
do you all get a good
That's
enough sleep?
wonderful.
No,
No. I
tell
wanna
us.
hear it.
Nobody gets
I
enough
wanna
sleep.
hear it.
We're all a bunch of zombies walking around hating our jobs and not sleeping. It's
Speak
wonderful.
for yourselves.
I love my job.
Do you sleep
too.
well?
I sleep enough.
You sleep enough. Okay. So there's a thing that you call sleep hygiene, and it's just like your personal hygiene and your daily hygiene and good hygiene is sleep hygiene, and there are things that you can do so that you get a better night's sleep. And first, you want to have your bedroom dark and cool, so you don't want it super hot, and you don't want to have like a light coming in from the windows and all of that.
Ugh, my
You know what
husband
does
will
mess
be
with
so
me?
happght with that.
What?
The cable box.
Yes, the
Half the
little light
reason-
on
Yes.
it.
Half the reason I want to get rid of Comcast is so
Yep.
I can get rid of that stupid box.
I turn my alarm clock so I don't see like the little neon numbers on that because even
See,
that
my
will.
husband wants to close the room darkening shades, and I want to feel the sun come up. I want to see the moon, and I want to feel the sun come up.
Well, you need shades that maybe aren't so room darkening that will let some sunlight because you should wake up when it's light.
Listen, with those shades, that slider opens to the deck, which opens to the lake. Who doesn't want to go to
No,
sleep with that?
I know.
and
Yeah,
wake
I
up
know.
With that?
I know. The other thing is you want to use your bedroom for 2 things. sleeping, and sex. And that's all you get to do in there.
So take the cable
exactly,
box
those
out.
two.
No TV in the bedroom.
No TV, no no eating, no working. None of that. Because then it messes with your mind of what this room is for. And it should be...
We could have a whole show on
I
this.
knew that was going to be problematic.
And Jonathan
but
is
that's
so
part of
quiet
it.
right now.
He's behaving.
And then he's not. All right, so we got that one. No caffeine, like so many hours before you go to bed. So some people do like after 2, no caffeine. The other thing is alcohol will mess with your sleep.
Oh, Jesus.
It does.
What are you going to look at me for?
It makes you sleepy, but then it just wakes you up and you dehydrates you. So you tend to be up more. And then try to stick to the same bedtime, even on the weekends. You know, get up at the same time, go to bed at the same time. And this is things I used to do with some of my clients, like with kids. Like even on the weekend, you still have to go to bed at 8:30. You stay up till 11, and you're going to screw everything up for 2 days. And then on Monday, have the Monday sleep hangover. So
I take my sleeping very seriously.
I do too.
And if my body decides it wants to be up at 3:30, it's go time. We're up at 3:30. You want to play like that? We're up at 3:30, and we're staying up until bedtime tomorrow. Here we go.
Yeah, but ask him what his bedtime is.
What is bedtime?
Like 7:30.
That's a, well, if you're up at 3, yeah.
Can I high
that's
five you? Because I like that.
Yeah.
And he likes his bottle. And by bottle, I don't mean a milk bottle.
I just got a visual. I was like, what's going on in that bedroom?
Baby Huey.
No.
But listen, sleep is important. Like, I am a sleep Nazi. You need to be, like with my child, he's in bed, and he sleeps the whole night. Because from the beginning, we had the sleep routine. PJs, brush teeth, read book, in bed. And that's it. And so everybody is well rested.
Everyone in that house is under.
Exactly. Because you feel miserable when you don't sleep.
Yes.
You're cranky, you don't focus. It's, you can feel like a crazy person if you go too long without sleep.
I agree with you there, but I absolutely refuse. I'm such a Nazi about my body. I don't allow my body to dictate what's going to happen through the day. So I'm normally a happy person.
Yep.
I don't allow sleep to change that. I get up. If I'm up at 3:30, I'm up, and that's it. I'm up for the day. I'm happy about it. I can't wait for the day to start. I can't wait to get to work, and let's do this.
Well, I think not everybody feels that way.
And I think, too, that it's best to figure out when you get your best sleep. If I get up between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., I'm a very different person. Like, I'm literally I'm not depressed, but I am depressed from what I normally am. If I get up after 8, I'm my cheery self.
Okay.
If
So
I get up
8 is
before
your
8,
magical
6 to
hour.
8 is my best
I would like
sleep.
her to add the 3 letters ish.
8-ish.
No, I'm my regular happy-ish.
All right, I get
self.
happier.
happy
but
ish.
Yes.
Yeah.
So sleep, I agree, is so important.
Yeah.
If no one talks to her till about noontime, it's all good. It's all good.
Except Shelly and Mandra. They can
Yeah, I
talk
was going
me.
to say, we meet at like 8:30 in the morning. It's great.
And I get there early.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my little tip for how to get some better sleep. I'm really excited to have Bridget on next week. Definitely check her out at bridgetcooper.com. We're going to Skype her in next week. And thank you for listening. And please check out the Writer's Block NH Facebook and the Writer's Block podcast on your favorite podcast catcher. May you be inspired, feel empowered, and be well.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.